All right, welcome back to another WandaVision review from the Final Reaction. Nick here.
Gabe, the Night Watchman.
And this episode, we say it every time, ever since episode 4, this episode is crazy. There's a whole lot to unpack. I have about 5 or 6 main points that I want to discuss. We'll see if we can get them all in there. I know Gabe's got some too. So this review is going to be complete spoilers. You know, if you don't know that already, then I'm sorry, but we're going to spoil a lot of things for you. Let me start off with this, Gabe. So I guess when this episode got released, there were warnings out there. There was error messages because there were so many people excited to watch right when it got dropped that Disney Plus had some issues. And it only lasted about 10 or 15 minutes. People were getting messages on their screen like, there's an error uploaded in this episode. Come back later. So that just shows you the excitement for this show. This show, like Mandalorian, is taking the entire country and world by storm. It's so good to see. This episode right here, are we in the 2000s now? Is that correct? We're in the 2000s?
Well, if you take from the video games that the kids were playing, I think it was the 2000s.
2010, right?
I think, well, yeah, I would say 2010s. Yeah, 2000, 2010, something like that.
We're pretty current, right? And, real quick, I'm not sure. I was getting like a Desperate Housewives, Office, Modern Family type vibe from this episode. What do you think that they were kind of drawing from? I couldn't tell from the opening thing where that was from.
Oh, the opening theme was definitely The Office, I think. You know what I mean? If you listen to the music.
Yeah, the music, yes, but with all the titles everywhere, that's not an Office thing. So I'm not sure where that came from. Like WandaVision being in so many different ways of being said.
And if you notice, it was actually just Wanda, and at the end, Vision. But I think it was, yeah, like you said, I think it was the Office thing. I know that the song for the big reveal, that's from straight out of the Monsters, right? Listen to the theme. I'm surprised they didn't get copyrighted unless they own that, because it was literally the same thing.
The text and everything, yeah.
Yeah. So if you've never seen the Monsters, that's where that's from. But so it's crazy that they went back. But I think that that's a point of what's going on in this episode, is that there's different decades right now in this episode, because you see the kids' controllers changing, and I think you see her whole house, everything changing. And we're just gonna jump into the episode right away. Basically, she's losing control. She expanded the hex bubble, as it's come to know, and it's harder to control that many people in there now. So you've got different time periods and eras meshing together. That's why the kids went from playing Super Nintendo to Atari. To Uno cards. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on over here? And you saw the furnace in her house change, the fireplace changed to the fireplace that was there in episode 1, the old cast iron one or whatever. And she's trying her hardest to get everything changed back. And again, she even tells the kids, I don't know what's going on. I don't have all the answers. Okay, so I think that there was a huge meta. This was a huge meta episode, right? She spends a lot of time talking to the camera, which is cool. Even Vision talking to the camera. So that's right out of The Office, right? Having that fourth wall, breaking the fourth wall. And I think that, it's funny. My brother was like, oh, what do you mean? And we're going to reveal it right now. Spoiler alert, 4 minutes into it. Supposedly they reveal that Agatha Harkness, is the big bad. I don't buy it. Because my brother's like, how is she controlling Wanda? Are you kidding me? She's not doing all this. No, Wanda proved that she is the one changing everything, because she's the one that lost control. And as things are changing around her, she's trying to change them back. I just think Agatha Harkness was able to manipulate her into doing some of these things, because Wanda in the Halloween episode says, I don't even know how this happened or whatever. Maybe she brainwashed her, but she's not the big bad, but she's behind the big bad, which I still think it's Wanda. They're going to set her up to be a bad character, because right now they're trying to show that she's showing remorse for everything that happens, right? So they're going to build her character back up before the end, when they try and take away the kids, and she loses it, cousin. So even in this episode, Monica Rambeau goes there and she says, you won't do it, Wanda. You're not an evil person or whatever. And she says, what if I am? You know what I mean? So I think that's what's going on.
So I kind of disagree in a little way. So I was so mad at myself, because as I was editing our review for episode 6, and I think I put in the description box about how Agnes, is in on the whole, is, not part of moving the strings. I asked the question, or is she just faking what we saw on the Halloween episode? I had thought about that just a few hours too late. But we find out that she was faking that. This is what I think. I think that she may not be the ultimate baddie. I think there's always someone above you, right? Like in an organization. I think that she has a lot more control of this hex than you're giving her credit for. And we've seen little Easter eggs throughout the episodes where Wanda's like, I don't know how that happened, or she didn't know where Vision was, for crying out loud, when he was doing his little thing in the Halloween episode. She didn't know where Pietro come from and that he looked different. She didn't know like why different things was happening. She was just accepted it because she had Vision with her. And in my opinion, if she knew what was, and again, the show creators could have been doing that to make us think that she didn't have more control than she did. I definitely think that Agnes is using, or Agatha is using her powers to help generate this thing. But this is what I think. When she increased or expanded the hex using all of her powers to save Vision, I think that she then realized that she wasn't controlling everything because she's in a different mind space right now. She's kind of like doing this episode where like they're divorced or they're separate. Your dad will come home whenever he's ready to come home kind of situation. But everything was changing around her and glitching. And I think that happened because she was infusing her control of the hex with Agatha's control of the hex, and it was making these glitches happen. Another theory I have is that Agatha was doing her thing in her basement, and she wasn't putting full control on everything around her. But I think that you got the conflicting witches right here. Agatha Harkness is from the comics, if you guys don't know. And in the comics, she's one of the mentors for Wanda. And so that's my theory on Agatha. I liked the reveal. I was mad at myself that I had thought that I got tricked by that whole thing. I have a few questions here, but one thing I really want to say is they mentioned the Nexus in that commercial. And we have learned to find out these commercials are more than just, playbacks on commercials and antidepressants. And so I myself, not having the comic book knowledge, and I openly admit that I'm more the movie guy. Gabe likes the movies, but he's more the comic book guy as well. He knows a lot more about the comics. But according to Google, what is the Nexus in Marvel? The Nexus is a cross-dimensional gateway which provides a pathway to any and all possible realities. Includes realities within realities. And another search says that the Nexus, being an individual, is someone that has the power to control the universe, control different realities. So are they suggesting that is what Wanda is trying to do, like the antidepressant commercial, but Agatha is the one actually doing that and having the control of these different realities? I want to know your thoughts as the comic book guy on the Nexus.
Wanda is the Nexus. Wanda in the comic books has been known as the Nexus because she can, alter reality, right? And she can go ahead. That's how powerful she is. So, in my opinion, it's saying that Wanda is the Nexus, right? At the same time, I'm glad you mentioned the basement. If you notice, everything in this town is modern, right? 2000s or whatever. But when you go down to this basement, it looks like an old witch's, a cavern or whatever. So this basement seems to be, and you got all the glowing purple vines around there. This basement also seems to be out of the power of the hex. So maybe the basement is the quote unquote Nexus, but I think it's referring to Wanda. With that being said, once Agnes was down in that basement, she no longer, first of all, she revealed herself. Second of all, she kind of, shammied or whymied Wanda or whatever. So she's got true power down there. And did you notice the book back there? I don't know what it's called. We're going to call it the Book of Necronomicon. Yeah, a little Evil 2 that reference there. But obviously, I think that bodes to your point that Agnes wouldn't be working alone. So maybe she is working with Mephisto, even though I've been saying all along, no Mephisto, Mephisto. Maybe there is Mephisto because she's been tied to him in the comics. So, I mean, we'll see. But all I can say is about this episode, man, is that it slowed down. It definitely slowed down from what they were giving us, okay? And I have a theory that the next episode is also going to slow down. Notice, this episode was longer, too. It was about 40 minutes, all right? Normally, they only run about 22, 23 minutes. This one was 37 or 38 minutes or whatever. And I think that The next one's gonna be obviously a backstory on Agatha, right? They're gonna tell us who she is, obviously now that she's revealed herself. And I thought that was so cool. It was Agatha all the time, and she's like, and I killed the dog. That was like hilarious. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I mean, I think that the next episode is gonna give us her backstory, but then in the final episode, that's when everything will happen and we'll get a whole bunch of action. It may be a full-on hour-long episode, but I think that slowing it down was by design because they can't just give this all to us. The reveal in and of itself was huge. One other thing before I forget I wanted to mention is that there's a theory going out there that the agent, I forget his name, the main the director
guy?
Yeah, the director of I always want to say S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's S.W.O.R.D. But the director of S.W.O.R.D. is somehow the big bad, or he's Mephisto hidden, or some people have suggested that he's Nightmare hidden. No, he's just a dude that is traumatized by what's happened. And you can even say when he had that conversation with Monica Rambeau, he said, after the snap, you don't know how bad it has been. You don't know what we've been through. So his goal, and it was revealed here because Darcy hacked his file, was to actually bring Vision back. So people that did have that theory, that Vision was trying to, what if Vision wasn't, I think I even might have mentioned it. What was he even doing there at that? It looked like they were trying to put him back together. They were trying to make him or bring him back to life in order to turn him into a weapon, which is what he did not want. Maybe that's what drove Wanda over the edge once she found out that they're trying to bring him back. And then she went and got the body.
Yeah, absolutely. They had intentions for Vision, and she wasn't going to have that. If she was trying to respect his wishes by not bringing him back to life, and then these guys were going to do it, she wasn't going to have that whatsoever. This is an interesting episode, though. The thing that, and it's not really a big question, she doesn't seem too concerned with Vision right now. And maybe because she's just still, this again proves to my point about Agnes, she doesn't have full control of this, Wanda, to where she's just trying. I mean, she literally is like taking a day off. She really is. She's like taking a sick day. And she's like, I just need a chance to think and clear my head and watch some TV. And she's doing the whole Modern Family, why did you talk back kind of a situation. I think that little nugget where the person is talking back is showing even more how she's not in as control as she thinks she is. And, how dare you speak into my show type of situation. But there's so much more to uncover. Real quick, Darcy and Vision. I wasn't a huge fan of their little adventure. I love the fact that they got together and Darcy basically, I like her character so much. I feel like she was underutilized in this episode to where, and I get it, she's a minor character, but she was just that person to catch Vision up to speed on who he was in the past and what was going on. Basically go through the whole 24 MCU films for Vision and give him an explanation. They have the whole, there's someone trying to keep us from going on. I wasn't a huge fan of that storyline, even though I thought Darcy was fantastic. Vision was fantastic. He's like, okay, I got it. And he flies off. That's going to play into the next episode. I definitely want to spend a lot more time talking about Monica Rambeau, who, in my opinion, is my favorite character in this show, the one I'm most interested in. We see that she going through that energy force. So Monica Rambeau in the comics, I did a little research. Surprise, surprise. Gabe already knows this. A lot of her power comes from energy and being able to utilize other people's energy and be able to transfer her own energy so that she can do things, which makes sense that she's able to go through the hex because she's able to use that energy. And then we see her eyes change and she's able to actually see things. The way I looked at that was she was able to see things as their energy, as they were flowing, which is why things looked a little different. So she's going to be able to handle in a small way, at least Wanda, if they had a little bit of a fight here, but not much of one. If they had to go toe-to-toe, I can see her now with her abilities of having that energy, being able to hopefully, I'm not sure how it transcends with the psychological energy that the Scarlet Witch has, but being able to, harness that, manipulate that, and protect herself from it. We see her in the extra credit scene at the end, which we finally got one. I didn't notice one of the other ones after the credits where she's going to go in there and you have Pietro saying, what does he say? Snooper's going to snoop or something like that.
I love him, dude. He's awesome.
But let's backtrack a little bit to what I want to know what your thoughts are with the fight with her and Wanda, because I agree with you. I feel like that was the showrunner's way of trying to bring Wanda back to our hero side. And then we have the kids play. Well, I have another question about that. We'll get to that in a little bit. But what are your thoughts just about the face-to-face with Monica and Wanda?
I mean, they're trying to redeem her character. talking about Wanda before in my opinion, then they reveal at the end, even if she hasn't been the big bad, let's say she has been manipulated this whole time, she's not going to give those kids up. But remember, nothing survives outside of the hex. You saw what happened to Vision, which is also another interesting theory I've seen, because Vision, as he's disintegrating when he's leaving the hex, the Mind Stone is still intact. So is it also where they were maybe working on creating their own Infinity Stones? I forgot where I heard that, but I saw that somewhere else online. With that being said, they're trying to rebuild her, and she didn't want to. I mean, yes, Monica Rambeau showed her powers. She had a little superhero landing there. She don't got a shot, bro. Again, Wanda almost scraped Thanos by herself.
No, I'm not saying that she has a chance, but I'm saying that, she's a little more equipped now than she was before.
Right, but they were showing, just like through Monica Rambeau, that although Wanda could, she doesn't want to hurt her. Okay, and that she still, anything she does later on is because she's forced to. Because hey, any parent would react like that if you take my kids. Regardless, you're my kids. I don't care what anybody said. Those are her kids. You know what I mean? Imagine how they react when they try to take down the Force, or get her to take down the hex, I should say. And now she's got to lose those kids because things don't survive outside of that hex, as we saw with Vision. So man, I mean, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see what's going to happen moving forward. Again, those to me were the biggest points of this episode.
I think the biggest point, Gabe, is the kids. We've mentioned it here and there, but the kids, they're trying to figure out what's going on. You have the one boy who says, I can, my head hurts so much. I can hear all these noise. He's in Agnes's house and he's like, I don't hear anything. And I don't hear anything inside of you either. Maybe that's why she did whatever she did. Where do you think the kids are? I don't think it's as simple as I think that she plays a part in this realm, and it's probably going to be very controversial, plays a part in them coming into existence into Wanda. Just like where the dog come from. I think that was Agnes. She giveth and she taketh away. And I'm not exactly sure if it was her who played a part in the kids coming into existence and becoming in Wanda's life, what her end game was with that. But they're in her possession. I don't think they're dead, but I think she's got them locked up somewhere. And you're right. That's going to make Wanda lose it. I think she's going to use that as a bargaining piece, Agnes or Agatha, where she's going to say, listen, I can do whatever I want to your kids. I don't want to do that, so I need you to play ball. I need you to go play housewife and go back into your house and do your little thing and don't worry about stuff. What do you think is going to happen to the kids? Are they going to just take them away in this season? Because I think there's only one more episode, if I'm not wrong. I think it's just 8 episodes. I could be wrong. There's going to be 9 this season?
9, yeah.
Okay, so then we got a little more play to work with. But what do you think is going on with the kids? Because now they're in a situation where she can't find them. She doesn't know where they're at.
The kids, I'll tell you right now, simply because I know, and I watched, I think it was the Comic-Con that they have it, where they showed that like in 2025 or 2026, I forget what year it is, they got Young Avengers coming out. No way, because they're a huge part of Young Avengers. And of course, one of the next shows is going to be Hawkeye with his daughter, and giving her the passing the mantle to her. And
but this could be a different reality. So this version of the kids could go away because they may not even be the actual real Tommy and Billy that maybe we'll get in the MCU eventually.
The fact that they spent so much time to do this and bring them in, because there's no other way to bring them in. Think about it. Vision's already gone, and really in the comics, she creates the kids almost similarly out of, because Vision can't have kids, so she creates the kids out of, like, I think it's Mephisto's DNA or something like that, or the residual energy from him or whatever. So they kind of almost conjured up. Same thing as happened in this episode. So I think the kids are here to stay. I think Agatha probably, whammied them the way she whammied Wanda down there, and they're probably somewhere, captive, like you mentioned. But the reason that he was, back to my theory that Agatha's house, especially the basement, is almost, if not the Nexus itself, but is not subject to the rules, because the minute he went in there, Billy couldn't hear he couldn't hear anything. Oh, is it Tommy? I can't remember. The Wiccan couldn't hear anything, and that tells you now his powers aren't working in there because that's part of his powers. He can read minds. He's a telepath, and he can't read her. So it's shielding him from the outside, pretend hex world that's out there.
Yeah, I agree. Man, so many good things to talk about here, but we want to know, what are your thoughts about this whole entire thing? There's still so many questions out there. I do think that Nexus commercial was probably our most important commercial we've gotten so far as what's going on. And one of the lines in that commercial was, because the world doesn't revolve around you, or does it? Go see your doctor before you take this. Could that be, this or that? And again, Agatha keeps talking about her husband. I can't remember what name she calls him, like Frank or something like that. Could that be Mephisto? Could that be someone else? She keeps mentioning him. She keeps talking about the lavender that he spreads on her every single night. Could it be just her cat, her Ebony or something like that she has from the comics? Who knows? I'm curious. I think he's going to play a part. We're going to find out a whole lot more. Can't wait for episode 8. Hopefully Disney Plus does not ruin their servers next time when people are excited to watch it. Let us know what your thoughts. Let us know what your theories are. Gabe, he's got the knowledge. I'm just here along for the ride. So thank you, Gabe, for sharing your knowledge. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time.
This is the way. I always come the wrong way.